it's Nicole and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share my favorite miniature orchids right now. A lot of these are very easy to grow. They are between 6 and 8 inches tall, so not very big at all, with the exception of one which is very, very tiny. So let me take you a little bit closer. So up first is the BLC Solar Flare Paradise. I absolutely love this orchid and it's rebloomed for the first time in my care. I got this orchid back in July from Carmilla Orchids, and you could sort of tell why she's called Solar Flare. She's got the most beautiful butter color with bright yellow on the petals. She also smells wonderful. She smells like lemons and also like a sort of a perfumey scent. I love her fragrance, and she is very tiny. So I mean, I guess she's not super, super tiny like a Sophronides orchid, but this one, she's about maybe 8 inches tall maximum, and she's very easy to grow. I grow her under LED lights, and she gave me 3 blooms this year. So when I first got her last year, she gave me two blooms when I got her from the nursery, so I was excited to see a 3rd bloom. And hopefully I will be able to get her to bloom again. These are supposed to bloom multiple times a year, which is one of the qualities that I like about mini cattleyas. Many are capable of blooming more than once, but she is wonderful. I may divide her. My friend Ray gave me a tip, and I will link his YouTube channel down below. But he told me that if I want to divide this orchid, I can do a back bulb division by cutting into the rhizome and leaving it in the pot for a while. So say I want to give the back bulbs away to someone because this orchid is so beautiful, I could cut the rhizome and just leave it there for 6 months to a year, and then a new growth should sprout. And this is a lot easier than damaging the roots, taking it out after fully repotting it. So I'm definitely gonna be trying that. This one has tons of happy sap, and she is just really, really beautiful. This is BLC Solar Flare Paradise. Up next, you guys know this one. This is Neophoenicia falcata. I love this orchid because she's small. She is very petite. She's about 6 inches tall maximum. And when she blooms, her flowers are extremely fragrant. They smell like an expensive perfume, and they're just beautiful. I find this orchid very easy to grow. This orchid I grow under LED lights as well. Very easy growing, very slow though. I'll say that they don't develop very quickly, so the fans do take some time to grow. But once they grow, they establish very well. I grow this orchid in a semi-hydroponic setup. You guys have seen my care collaboration for it. And it's basically in clay pebbles with a top layer of non-wicking river stones, and this one's very happy. But I mostly like this orchid because I do love the foliage. It's very beautiful, very simple, and I love the little dainty flowers, and I'll put a picture up so you guys can see it. But this is one of my favorite minis. All right, up next is Dendrobium Angel Baby Little Darling. So this is an orchid I got from White Plains Orchids. And when I first got this orchid, it was covered in keikis. So I think I took about 20 keikis off, but it was also covered in blooms. As you could see, there were a lot of old canes here. So this orchid is capable of blooming multiple times per year. Her flowers are white and dainty and very fragrant. They smell like jasmine, and I really like them. They're very delicate, very simple looking flowers, and I find it to be an easy grower. So I repotted this about a month and a half ago, and I'm starting to see new canes come up. Now, I have been falling behind on watering this orchid because I find it to be extremely thirsty. So I need to water it more than I was before, because if I water once a week, the water reservoir is empty. So I need to be very mindful of that. But this bloomed for me when I first got it in December. It already came in bloom, and it gave me some additional blooms. And I'm starting to notice some new buds coming in, as you can see right over here. So she will bloom again for me. I believe she blooms in the spring and fall normally, and she's capable of blooming multiple times per year. She is prone to some spotting here, which I'm not too worried about. I usually cut that off, but I'm happy I was able to share this orchid with 4 different people. I still have some of her keikis, so I think she's gonna grow really nicely, and it's nice to be able to share your orchids, and I think these grow quite easily, and they're gonna bloom really nicely. So this is one of my favorite minis. You guys also know this one. This is Falsogo Vivian Leaf's Edge. I like this one because she has variegated foliage. I was able to get an extra one, and I will show you guys that video very soon. But this orchid is extremely easy growing. The blooms last a very long time. This has been in bloom about 2 months altogether now. And she is pushing out another flower spike, as you can see right over here. So that is really, really nice and surprising. What I like about this orchid is she literally does not stop growing. So when I first got her from Hauserman Orchids, the spike was broken. So I was very bummed about it. I thought it wouldn't bloom. And she just branched out a flower spike immediately after it broke and after I repotted it. So she will try to bloom. She's very vigorous. I have her growing in this Leca semi-hydroponic setup, which you guys have seen before. And she's a super easy grower. She's got beautiful variegated foliage, and she will not stop blooming. So this is I'm just amazed on the second spike that she's throwing out while she's in bloom. But I love miniature Phalaenopsis orchids. They don't require very much light at all. They're not very fussy. They can be a little bit thirsty, so they do take a little bit more water, I'd say, than a much larger Phalaenopsis. But other than that, these are super easy to grow and very rewarding. Up last is a teeny tiny orchid. This one is called Dayakia, Hendersoniona, Hawaii. I got this orchid almost a year ago, and she came in spike but never bloomed. So this is one of the only orchids I have in this group that I haven't seen bloom yet, but I love how small she is. She came mounted when I first received her, and then I moved her to this little clay pot. So I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get her to bloom later this year, but she's very small. She has very high humidity requirements, and I know I'm not meeting those requirements right now, but what I do is I mist her every single morning to make sure that she's okay, rather to make sure that she gets some more ambient humidity. And she's growing just fine. What I wish I would see here is that the leaves would be longer than the previous leaves, and that's not happening, but she's very pretty. I'll put a picture up of what her blooms look like. This is a Vandaceous type orchid, so she cannot be in a very moisture retentive mix. That's why I have her in a clay pot, but I'm hopeful I'll be able to get her to bloom later in the year. She's very cute, very dainty, and she's putting out a new leaf for me. So these are my favorite miniature orchids at the moment. As you can see, it's a mixture between some very fragrant ones and very easy growing ones. I really love that Cattleya in the back. She smells so delicious, and I think it's the fragrance really that got me. But I also have a lot of Brassivola, Brassocatleya type orchids that I haven't gotten to bloom yet, but I'm pretty sure that once I start seeing those open up, I think my preferences will change a little bit. But for now, these are some of my favorite miniature orchids. Let me know down in the comments which are your favorite mini orchids. Curious if you guys like any other species that are small. There's a lot of Cattleya orchids that are really tiny and also fragrant. A lot of Lelias that I've seen that I haven't grown yet. But yeah, let me know down in the comments down below. And thank you guys for watching. Bye!